I'm so happy to be here. I'm sorry I don't speak Italian. So I've been asked to talk about courage. And for me, courage is made up of two parts. The first part is bravery. So bravery has also two parts. The first is having fear. You can't be brave if you don't have fear. So there's fear, and then there's overcoming fear. So that's the first part of bravery. The second part is compassion, caring about others. So overcoming your fear in order to help others. That's what courage is all about. I've been working in human rights for over 30 years with the bravest people on earth, people who face imprisonment and torture and death for basic rights most of us in this room take for granted. And I've seen that there are three types of courage in the world. The first is the most typical, and that's somebody who comes from a minority community and bands together with his or her friends and colleagues and stands up against a government or a majority. So a typical case of that would be Nelson Mandela in South Africa, or Martin Luther King standing up against Bull Connor and the white power structure in the South in the United States during the Civil Rights Movement. The second group is much more rare, and that's courage without borders. Those are people, maybe somebody here from Italy who goes to Rwanda and helps create change in that country. Or Médecins Sans Frontières would be an example of that. The third type of courage is the most rare in the adult world, and yet it's the courage that we expect all of our students, especially middle school students and high school students, to demonstrate every day. And that's moral courage. Moral courage is not just standing up against the enemy. It's not just standing up against the government or the people with power, but it's also standing up against your friends, your family, your colleagues, and willing to be ostracized by them because of your belief, because of what's right. So if you go into any high school or middle school in Italy, in Rwanda, in Cambodia, in the United States, in any place on earth today, and you ask, have you heard in the last 30 days, have you heard the words bitch or faggot or retard or maracchino? All the kids will raise their hands and say yes. And if you ask them, have you seen this in cyberspace about your fellow students in this school? All the kids will say yes. And if you ask them, do you think everyone in this school feels safe coming to school every day? They'll say no. At the RFK Center here in Italy, we provide the Speak Truth to Power human rights education program. And in that program, we show students how to stand up and how to create change, because they're confronting these hate words 10 or 15 times a day. And when they do, they have a choice. Am I going to go along, or am I going to stand up? And each time they make that decision, it's like they're exercising a muscle. They're either exercising the go along muscle, or they're exercising the stand up muscle. And at the RFK Speak Truth to Power program, we show them how to stand up, how to exercise that stand up muscle. Now, I'd like to give you an example of that. 2 years ago, we had a teacher in Calabria, And she taught this program, and she asked each student to choose a social justice issue, could be trafficking, could be freedom of expression, and go and do something on it. So two or three of the students decided to do a photo essay on recycling. So they went and they bought a newspaper and a Coca-Cola, and they took pictures of themselves reading the paper and drinking the Coke. Then they took pictures of themselves putting the newspaper and the Coke into the recycling bin. Then they took pictures of the recycling truck coming and picking up the Coke and picking up the newspaper and putting it into the truck. Then they got on their bicycles with their camera, and they followed the recycling truck all around the town. Then they followed it all the way to the dump, and they took pictures of the recycling truck dumping the recycled goods along with all the other goods at the dump. Then they took those pictures, and they went to the local newspaper. And the local newspaper put it on the front page of the paper the next day. Then they went to the mayor, and they said, look at these pictures, look at this newspaper, what are you going to do about it? And the mayor fired the recycling company. And so that's a victory. Can we give a round of applause for that victory for human rights? So I tell you that story because I think so often when we think about courage and we think about agents of change, people believe that first you have to win the Nobel Prize and then you can become a human rights defender. But I think an example like this shows that young people, 15, 16, 17 years old, can create change. And indeed, all of us have something to contribute, some way we can make the world more just and peaceful. And that's what we're all called upon to do. And I'll just end with these words from my father, Robert Kennedy. He said, moral courage is a rarer commodity than bravery in battle or great intelligence, yet it is the one vital quality for those who seek to change a world which yields most painfully to change. And those with the courage to enter the moral conflict will find themselves with companions in every corner of the globe. So I hope all of us leave here today determined to be the companions for moral courage. Thank you very much. Grazie. Grazie. Now, I have 3 minutes and 10 seconds left, so I would like to do something with all of you. Is that okay? Okay. So we work in Sudan with people who have been imprisoned and raped and tortured, and especially with the women there. And Sudan is in the dry season for 10 months of the year, and then for 2 months, there's the rainy season. And the dry season is the most dangerous time because you have to walk further to get water, and that's when the women are most vulnerable. So they pray for rain. So I would like to ask you all to join with me in a prayer for rain, in a sort of a call for rain. Is that okay? Okay, so now you're going to have to participate. We're going to divide the room into 3 parts. This is going to be the first part, right here. Okay, wave your hand if you're in the first part. Good. Okay, this is going to be the second part from here over to here. Okay, put up your hand if you're in the second part. Good. And this is the third part, all of you too. Yep, okay, great. So now, this is what we're going to need to do, a couple of different things. The first is snap your fingers. Can you all do that? Okay, great. So the second one is clapping, but not too loud, like this. Great. The next is, okay, and the next. Okay, good. And the last one is this. Being quiet. Okay, so now the rain is going to start over here on this side of the plane, and it's going to sweep across the plains all the way to here. It's like a round. So if I'm directing you, you guys keep doing you keep doing your job. I'm going to tell them to do their job. And when I move across, then I'll let you know what to do, okay? Okay, good. Behave. Okay. Everybody stand up. Okay? Now, shh. We're going to start. Oh, shh, shh, shh. No talking. Grazie.